1, 2, 3, going. Give Caesar a big hand. Caesar, end of the day, beautiful space, beautiful city, beautiful summer so far. We're talking here in interpreting visual culture class about. We're talking about games. It was like introducing the game of life, the game of war, the game of love, the game of the university, the game that transfers into reality. Game of love sometimes transfers into screaming and shouting, or maybe babies or whatever. The game of the university translates into loans and paying off for student loans and stuff like that. The game of work, how does that transform? Maybe we get higher wages, maybe we love it, maybe we hate it. Maybe you get fired, which is not a game because then you're not paying the next month's rent. This is interesting. You were talking about the game of buying a car, the game of you loving heavy machinery as opposed to punching buttons here. First of all, let's talk about machinery. That's kind of a cool concept because it's big stuff. It moves big molecules around, and like digital things, you hit this on the board and like send whatever and so forth. How have games affected your life?
Games, how have games affected my life? I've never been a gamer. I don't know. I wasn't that good at it. You know, I'm talking about
the ludology, the skill of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the gaming simulator.
Oh. Yeah, that's what they mean. I mean, get your high score, move up the level, blah, blah, blah. I was never into that, too. It's like, that sort of stuff always seemed contrived to me. Caesar, first of all, what is the game here? I'm a professor, you're a student, we're taking a summer class, we got 8 classes or something like that. Done deal, get your grade, see you later. How do you think it'll affect you 5 years from now?
Well, with regard to the game, I mean, it's so if you look at being employed as a game, having a degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, it gets you looked at from companies that are trying to employ you.
But many people know it keeps you staying in the game, as opposed to people who just never finish high school and take their GEDs. We think, oh my God, they're gonna go by the wayside. They could be the smartest person in the world. They could not have the means to go to college, and we say, oh my God, they didn't borrow to stay in the game. Does this make education more like gambling?
It does make education more like gambling because the time that I spend in university or anyone else, there's no guarantee at the end of the road when you're done with Stony Brook or anywhere else. You don't have a guarantee that someone's going to hire you.
Right. And we said you were in the service. You said I asked you how much did the simulation translate into the real on the ground stuff. You said maybe 20%. Is that? And you said, and Jay asked you, why didn't they teach you about the downtime, the waiting time? Where else have you experienced the downtime in your life, the waiting time?
You know, one of the things that you were talking to Terrell about was downtime being between, let's say, people that you're with. So when I was sort of considering that, downtime is everywhere. Anything that you're sort of in between is really that downtime. So when I was in the service, downtime was when we weren't training, or we would even consider downtime when we were eating.
Right.
So you could sort of look at downtime for pretty much anything.
So Jay, maybe we should be more Zen Buddhist about downtime. It's like, hey, let's just appreciate this moment. Whether it's cleaning your gun or just appreciating the time between girlfriends. Or boyfriend, or whatever, maybe appreciating education over where a university can take you. What's your opinion on training about this downtime between the game or the simulation and the so-called real world?
It'd be great if you could understand maybe that everything is downtime or nothing is downtime. You're always in a state of awareness, and whether going on around you or whether there's quiet, um, it's time that somehow is useful to you. Somehow.
Like play for a child is actually work.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that when a child plays, that's work for a child. And the child loves it. And we feel bad that our work or the world of our work doesn't have that same excitement we had as a kid playing around. We say, oh, that's just structure. And we say, well, maybe it's not. Maybe that's society saying, oh, but work has to be boring, painful, this, that, and the other. What is, Tyrell, we rattle off some biggies like love and war and university and work, and what are a few other biggies to this binary of simulation to the real, or the game to the not game? You think of any others?
Anything to the real, anything that is considered controversial. You do heterosexuality versus homosexuality, you do real versus imagined, life versus truth. Any dichotomy, any dualism that we use, that's another big thing that's seen as separate, but can actually be one and the same.
Or maybe your loving parents said to you, you say, Mom, I feel this thing here, and it's probably nothing. Your mom said, no, it could be something. It's not a game, right? Did your mom do that?
Yeah, she's
Kathy?
really dramatic. I just don't know anything. She will send it to the hospital.
She said right away to
Like,
the doctor,
oh my
don't
God,
play
it's
with
death.
this.
She's crazy.
It's like, you can't be disregarding your body that way. Get to the doctor right now.
And if you don't call, she'll call for you.
So, some people play, like, parenting, that's a biggie. So, what should there be more play in parenting, Caesar? Should there be, everyone makes a cancer project out of their kid, and we feel like just let them develop on their own rate, or is that wrong?
I think that's what a lot of parents are sort of doing now. They're growing up. It's very structured, it's very specific. It's do this, do that, and giving clear direction on what you should and should not be doing.
Jay, Schopenhauer said, this is why I'm having a re-love of Schopenhauer, he said it's all a game. It's many philosophers before Schopenhauer took Kant and said, oh, it's us. Imagine what we know of the world, and we're just these little bugs on the crust of the known, right? And Kant said, we don't know what's in the middle, we don't know what's out there, we just know our little crust. And Schopenhauer says, oh, I know what's on the inside. It's a game. And the game comes out this way, from the sphere. It comes out, so it affects our love lives, our work lives, our lives with our parents. Is this extreme? Schopenhauer said this table is playing a game with us. Not in a sense of being conscious, but this table was once a tree, it once lived its life, it once wanted to live and reproduce as a tree. The leather in our shoes were once an animal, blah, blah, blah. That's what Schopenhauer meant. And so when he says something, what did he call it? The world is will and idea. So he was looking at the game of love. He's saying, even if you get married, even if you're a baby, even if in a fit of passion you shoot and kill your spouse, this is all a game to Schopenhauer. Is that drastic?
Shakespeare said something similar, didn't he? The world is a stage.
The stage, yeah. It's another metaphor.
Of these understandings of reality. As you're talking about that, I was thinking about rules. Games have rules too, and all the different contexts that we find ourselves in also have rules. And in a sense, you can follow the rules, you can break the rules, and it is, in that sense, all part of the game. And sometimes, maybe if you go out on a social outing with some friends, you go to a bar, maybe you intentionally break some rules. Maybe you say some stuff that you're not supposed to say, or maybe you drink too much than you're supposed to drink. You're dancing on the bar, and you do that on purpose because you want to push the rules of the game. You want to play in a different way. Or maybe when you come to class, you break some other rules, the rules of the classroom context, or the rules of the home context. In that sense, it does seem like there are a lot of different games that we play, different guidelines we follow.
So Catherine, mash it up, man. It's like I began this lecture showing, studio audience, showing my photographs of Auschwitz. Not a game there. You disagree that that was a game. They open the boxcar and say, there's the showers. Not a game. A lot of people at that time knew it wasn't a game. Or the hope. Let's turn hope into the word game into hope. Oh, you're just going to be relocated. Not a game. You avoid going to the doctor and it ends up being cancer. We say, that's not a game. Oh, okay, but what did I have to play around with? Catherine, the mashup is the 4 points of this pyramid. The skill or ludology, the narrative, the simulation, and the gamble. If you don't go to the doctor to check out to see if it's cancer or not, did it cease to become a game when it began? Schopenhauer disagreed. He said, Schopenhauer says suicide is stupid because it's all a game anyway. Just play your hand until the end, right? That's his father committed suicide, so he thought his father was dumb, right? So he said it's all a game anyway. So mash up those 4 points: ludology, narratology, simulation, and gambling.
I want to go back to the Auschwitz. Like, maybe it was a game for the Germans. Maybe not for the people that were involved and were being incinerated and
Of course not.
whatever else that was happening. Obviously, it was a game for them. But maybe it was a game for the people that were tortured, and maybe they thought of it as a game.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a mix of they lost their sense of empathy. It's like we're not playing a game here. It's not who can kill who can work to death as many people as they can, and so forth. Tyrell, the mash it up. I'm interested, and I hope you guys. I know we have street construction dudes here. I'm interested in this idea of gambling in our lives. Now, the place where we don't ever think we have a gamble, but it's probably the biggest gamble, your love interest. It's always a gamble. Well, but what are you gambling?
Step one, day one, you're gambling. It's anything that do with love interest or life interest. You're gambling that the person that you have an interest in will like you back. You're gambling that what you say is going to offend them. You're gambling that you're wearing the right clothes, that you brush your teeth enough in the morning, that you took a shower, that you did all this. Everything's a gambling.
But I like that line, and remember, don't know if you saw Rear Window, the Hitchcock film, where James Stewart turns to Grace Kelly. She's a doll. She's super luscious, and he just turns to her and said, can't we just keep this status quo? She wants to up the game, and he wants to, CJ, he wants to say, he wants to take the gamble down. He wants to say, I'm getting nice booty call. I'm having a nice life with you. You come over 2-3 times a week. What's the gamble? What do you mean gamble? I'm here with you. We're appreciating each other, I think, mutually. Why do you, Grace Kelly, want to take it up? And the rest of the movie is brilliant because he looks out the window at aspects of his possibility as a married man, which a lot of them aren't too flattering. Who saw the movie? You ever see Rear Window? Great movie. It is, but it's all about the portrait of the women, aspects of the women to them. We could replace this with men. So, Catherine, how is gambling fit in with the status quo?
It's all a game.
But what if you got a boyfriend you like? He's mellow.
It's all a game.
He's week to week. It's all nice. Now, the beautiful intimacy, beautiful play, beautiful whatever. And this boyfriend or girlfriend never cranks it up, never turns the heat up and says, this is no longer a game. This is not a gamble. We have to get serious.
In order for a relationship to last, it is a game. It's a game of keeping a person interested. So you have to constantly play the game. You
Like
never
Friends,
turn it off.
right?
Yeah, of course. With Friends the same way. You have to keep it interesting or else you're just going to find another friend, right? Someone that can keep you interested as well as going to play that game back.
Is that what you do?
What?
On other friends?
Yes, I find other friends all the time.
Which is easier with buttons. Is it easier with push buttons?
Yeah, I sort of keep the friends that I have. I don't go and sort of looking for new friends.
Would you give a girlfriend or boyfriend like 3 strikes and they're out?
Me personally?
Yeah. As opposed to a wife.
I sort of don't really give strikes because I don't give high expectations of a long-term situation. But I mean, I guess depending on what they did to earn a strike, I think it would vary.
But why would you give someone a strike? I feel like that's kind of childish.
Because it's like baseball, It's like
But you said it was a game.
It is a game, but it's not on a strike basis.
And who are you? They're giving you strikes, so it's a mutual thing.
It's the survival of the fittest, right? We live in a world where we have to exceed the expectations of the person, and we have to constantly be on top of our game. So it's the same thing with dating. You have to constantly be on top of your game.
Good. That gets to be exhausting. Now, war. Simulating war in war games. Then you said you spent 2 months there, and it's like, was there something right away that told you this is not a game?
Yeah. I mean, Composition 4 will literally make someone disappear from a specific location. So if you were to ever see...
What? That's a explosive or what?
Yeah. Any explosive.
IED or IED?
An IED, any non-liquid explosive, like a gasoline, will literally make someone disappear. You could be sitting there doing something with it, and the next minute it goes off. You're like, they call it pink mist. You're gone. There's nothing there. And when you see that for the first time, you never don't want to.
The sense they're wiped off the face of the earth.
Wiped off the face of the earth.
Wow. And you can hear about it, you can see it on the news, you can whatever, but until you see it, hopefully in the distance.
Until you see it in the distance, it's the most unbelievable thing that you think you'll ever see.
That's pretty drastic. What, Caesar, what other, we said love, war, education, work, anything else that has this game, and we were talking about Schopenhauer, said that it all comes from below, the world's playing out. It's kind of a fun metaphor. The world's playing a big game with us. That's Schopenhauer's thing. Even this table, playing a game with us. We killed it, but not us. Someone killed this table. It ended up as our table. We won in the game against the table. My shoes used to be a cow, whatever. But it's the will to survive, is what Schopenhauer said.
So you're part of the game.
You're part of the game.
Even in that movie, The Matrix, there's that one character who tells the girl, his wife, or whatever, he tells her, this is a game, this is nothing but a game, it's all a game. You got into that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but yet, if he didn't play the game, some insect robot is sucking away his energy, farming out these bodies. Oh, that's a thing. Catherine, are we farmed?
Yeah.
Are we farmed for harvest?
Of course.
In the media and consumer culture and whatever. What else?
Of course. I mean, depending on which field you're going into, or depending what you want to do with life, or who your parents want you to be, they're basically like building this person that they want you to be. They're basically teaching you all the things that they want you to learn.
Who gets to harvest you?
Huh?
Who gets to, just like a crop, who gets to harvest you and put you in the grain silo and eat you later?
Your boss.
Your professor? Do you think the pyramid scheme exists with your professor? It's like, I'm just here to harvest students. Is that a cynical take on education?
Yeah, I don't think so much the professors are really trying to harvest, but I think that, I would go so far as to say that the federal government is trying to make sure that they harvest to a certain degree, because they want people that can actually produce in society. So I think that's where that harvesting aspect would actually come from.
Who had difficulties at the bursars?
Bursar?
Do you feel that, like, you played the game, Tyrell, you played it fair, and now you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 extra credits?
We don't play fair.
They don't. They made me take a whole bunch of classes.
They give you a set of rules and then
They break them?
They play by different ones, and then they say, oh, well, you should have done this.
So that's not a game, that's a harvest. So you agree with that? You have to play the game knowing that they're not playing game, they're harvesting you for a meal. The meal is to keep you in the system and to do it. Okay, we're running out of time. Thanks, Caesar. We'll see you on